So hi, my name is Jaka Levstek. I'm originally from Ljubljane, but I live in London. I'm founder and CEO of a company called D.laps. D.laps' mission is to actually build tech startups for other people. We sometimes joke that we build other people's companies for money. We work mostly in London with UK-based companies. We've been around for 10 years. Started as a very small group of mostly technical people in 2009 and now turned out to be a company over 100 people. I also lecture at Imperial College Business School on entrepreneurial marketing, mostly from sort of the experiences that I've had with D.laps. And I mentor to a lot of startups around Europe. Okay, well, ideas are funny, right? Ideas are something that, in a way, we always have a saying that it's not about the idea of the startup, it's about the execution, which is partly true. But perhaps instead of asking ourselves, how do we get ideas? Because ideas can come from any sort of source of inspiration. I think as long as the idea has some sort of a grounding base in what you know about yourself, maybe your potential clients, about a specific pain, something they feel very strongly about, you'll always be able to find ideas. I think the question here is, how do you recognize, out of all the things that are sort of popping on your mind, how do you actually recognize an idea that makes sense, right? Mostly what you would think of is you go out and you talk to people and people say, well, that's a really good idea or that's a really bad idea. But let's think about something. I mean, was Facebook a good idea, right? Think about it, the 10th social network in a very saturated space, with MySpace being, the most of the winner, and then with the customer segment that, we're students, so no way to really make money. Was Google a great idea? Again, in a space where Yahoo took all the problems that the search engine was trying to solve, doesn't feel like it's an actually good idea. So one funny thing about ideas is that all the really good ones mostly sound like a bad idea, but they turn out to be good. Okay, well, that's an interesting question and an interesting term, probably depending on whom. You would have a lot of startups that would never be economically viable to anybody. Twitter is still trying to figure out a way in which it would create value for its shareholders, but that probably doesn't mean that Twitter, in a way, didn't achieve a certain level of success. As a general question, right? We obviously we'd like to say that sort of carrying a company or building a company is almost like sort of going into marriage, which means that 10 years is about right, about jokingly. But in reality, most startups would need somewhere between 5 to 15 years to make those one of the typical ways of exiting, like to selling to a larger strategic partner, or making an IPO and going or becoming a public company. But there's so many ways now in which you, as a founder or as an early stage team, as an investor, can actually create or capture some value, either moving quicker through an acqui-hire into a larger company, or just creating a profitable venture as well, which is something that we don't hear a lot from startup space, but it can be a very viable thing. Those things can obviously take a lot less time on one degree, but nobody would expect, or nobody should expect, that it takes less than 5 years. Startup is a commitment that has to be really sort of well explored, and that takes time.